history and the things that we have gone through. And most of us, most of my family, our diets were pretty bad. And my young brother, this is my young brother Mike. Of the two brothers, me and Stanley, Mike has the worst diet. And at this time, at the making of this movie, he now has cancer. He's had it for years. He's fought back 3 times. He rode with Lance Armstrong as a cancer survivor, but never been able to get through to him to get him to change his diet. So he beats it. He goes through the chemo, and it's horrible. And then you look back and look up, and you get a call, and Mike's back in the hospital with cancer. He's undergoing chemo. So this has been a real touch and go issue with my family.
You have a lot smaller target area to guard for sideways. Unless you do like that to invite, and then pare. Pare, it's like you keep the point with me, and you block the sword, not way out there. You want the blade to just miss your body by an inch. It takes energy to block that empty space.
Okay.
So you don't want to block any further than your body.
Okay. So a minimalist type of.
Right.
Guard
See,
that side.
Now from there you're in lunging range. Lunge, extend the sword, and the hand flies back to give you momentum. Watch,
Okay.
watch. Like that.
So yeah, that's very mechanical. That's easy to grasp.
The following talk is a talk that I did after my mom died. I did a painting that I wanted to do to dedicate to her. I wanted to catch the transitory nature of this fleeting world. I think that I'm not as angry now as I was then, but it's still a hard thing when I think about it. It's hard for me to talk about it or share it with anybody, but I think that it's important because you can't just deal with statistics. You have to make it personal. It has to be from the heart, or else there's no communication.
What is our human potential? I mean, that's what life should be. Life should be a celebration of human potential. And every once in a while, doesn't happen every lifetime. Sometimes we go for centuries without really making a breakthrough. But every once in a while, we make a breakthrough. And when we make that breakthrough, then we all get to go forward. And science, because we live in a scientific age, should be based on truth. It should be based on sincere exploration of our potential. It should be a celebration of life and the abundance that we are surrounded with. And when science deviates from that, when science becomes corrupt, when the scientists no longer tell us the truth, when we find ourselves in a Machiavellian age where we're being systematically poisoned to the point of whereby we cannot realize the quality of life that was promised to us, then we do have to take action. And this type of action that we can take is very, very general. This is what I call a very general revolution. what's it like living with raw, begging kids?
Oh.
So Joan's walking through the house. Joan was like 7 years old at the time. Oh, I just saw something there, and I went up to him and I said, I bet you think you could beat me to the top of Shell Mountain. He looked at me like, no problem. I said, oh, now Shell Mountain, the angle is like that. You just run. You can't run up it. You have to dig your hands in and you claw your way up. It's like maybe 3/4 of a mile, but it's just straight up. It's like 98 degrees outside. I'm like, okay, man, I'm gonna show this little dude a lesson. So we take off, and I want to kill him. I want to break his spirit right out the gate. I'm just gonna break his heart. You know, and he's not going to walk through my house like he owns it. You know, he's going to like show me some respect. So I take off running. I overspent myself, and I was like wheezing. I was like, but I said, well, maybe I got enough of a lead. I can slow down. So I started slowing down. I hear this boom, boom, boom. I look up and there's Joan. He ain't even breathing hard. I was like, oh my God, he's not even breathing hard. He just shot right past me. I get to the top. He beat me to the top. He's smirking. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to change the game. I said, well, you know, the real race is back to the house. You like got to the halfway point first, you know. He's like, okay, no problem. So we take off going, and we're going down this steep embankment, and I'm just letting gravity and my extra weight just pull me down, and I'm smoking them. I'm like, all right, man, I got this. Redemption. I'm going to redeem myself. We get down to the bottom, and there's this ravine, and I got maybe another, you know, like 1/4 of a mile to go, and I'm smoking. And all of a sudden, I hit this little root. It couldn't have been more than an inch. And it just caught the tip of my shoe, and I went up, and I knew I was falling. But as I was coming down, the mountain was falling away, and I'm like trying to find a place to land, and all I see is these sharp rocks. It's just a whole canyon full of sharp rocks, and I'm like, oh no, this is going to be bad. And sure enough, I hit, and I had such momentum, I'm just sliding on the rocks, and they're just cutting me to pieces. And I'm like, God, am I ever going to stop? Can I just mercifully lose consciousness? But I didn't. I'm like still awake, and I finally come to a stop, and I'm like laying there. I say, the first thing you do in a situation like that, you wiggle your toes to make sure that the wiring is still connected. So I wiggle the toes on one foot. I say, okay, so far so good. I wiggle the toes on the other foot, and then I wiggle my fingers. Okay, there's hope. And I hear the boom, boom, boom. Here comes Joan. I was like, all right, man, maybe Joan, you know, like Joan's going to help me out. Maybe he can go get help and stuff. And I hear this boom, and I feel the footprint on the back, the lower part of my back, and then another footprint in between my shoulder blades, and wham, he's gone. I'm like, oh my God, he didn't even stop to say, hey Dad, are you all right? So I said, I dragged myself back to the house. I'm bleeding. The front of my shirt is just shredded. I'm bleeding from about 7 or 8 different places, and I got these 2 distinct footprints on my back. So I figure like the rest of my family's gonna be like, Storm, are you all right? When they saw the footprints on my back, they wanted the shirt. So they said, take your shirt off, take your shirt off. I take my shirt off. I think maybe they're gonna help me. They're gonna clean my wounds or something. They take the shirt into Joan's room and they pin it up on the wall with the 2 footprints on it.
We take any victories we can get and make the most of them.
Just a minute. Joan,
Yeah.
you gonna break Chris off?
Yeah.
You gonna beat him?
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think about that, man? This little dude talking stuff, man. You think he's in the NBA or something?
My face says it all.